Good evening, all. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 7:01. Happy August. Our summer's winding down. We'll be here shortly in school. There's not a lot of people up here tonight. Mr. McClay's on vacation. He's going to be jumping on the phone with us shortly when we go through the resolutions. Mr. Boyle is out of town on business, and Doris Nielsen is attending a family obligation tonight. By way of governance on the board, I have an announcement to make. Unfortunately, Allison Kugler notified us in early July that she had a personal conflict with her employment outside of the school, and she was unable to satisfy that conflict to her satisfaction or her employer's satisfaction. So regrettably, she had to resign from the board. We thank Allison for stepping up. We wish she would have been with us a lot longer, but she had a conflict she could not resolve. So with that, I'm going to call the roll. Anthony Boyle is absent, available by phone if we need him. Mary Deisler, present. Allison Kugler. Mr. McClay is absent on vacation, available by phone. John McBurney is present. And Doris Nielsen is absent. And Robert Sullivan is present. We met in executive session tonight with the CEO, with the board, and with Mike from our financial firm from about 5:30 on. Additionally, since the last meeting we introduced a standing committee, a finance committee of the board. That board met this week with our interim CEO, and on the financial issues, just before we go into anything further, we, as a public entity and as a charter school, like a lot of the charter schools out there, and like the whole public education, we are looking at some pretty severe budget deficits in the coming year and the coming years. I don't want to speak too much about numbers, but Mike Thompson, correct me if I'm wrong, we're looking at anywhere between a $1.3 and a $1.9 million reduction in our budget for the next year. That's through no fault of anybody here at PAX. That's through realignment of budgets out of Harrisburg, some pension obligations that came down from the state, and a reduction in some of our funding from the state. With that said, our finance committee will be meeting and working with the interim CEO on a daily basis or a weekly basis to look at our budget line by line. Some cuts are going to need to be made. We're going to try to make the cuts as painless as possible. We've endeavored with the CEO to ensure that everybody here at the school is going to have a say in that. We're going to meet with the administrative staff here at the school. We're going to meet with the department heads. We're going to meet with everybody we can. We're going to look at the budget line by line. And I just wanted to get that out ahead of time. There's going to be some tough days ahead here at Philadelphia Academy Charter School, and we're going to do the best to make sure we deliver the finest educational product we can to our students while preserving the benefits and the employment of everybody here. So with that said, I'll move in the agenda. I'll ask if anybody hasn't met Mr. Grasham, sitting to my left, with the interim CEO, came on board last month. He's going to be helping us with some interim CEO duties. He's also going to be assisting the board and the school with a search for a permanent CEO. And I'll ask Mr. Gresham if you have a CEO's report this time.
I have a tendency, once I get started, to be long-winded, but I assure you I'll try to keep it on target. I do have a copy of the PowerPoint that I have. Being the teacher that I am, I want to back up some of my comments and statements with a visual presentation as well as a handout. The board had asked that I come on board to assist them with a CEO search. Okay? Whenever a district or an organization loses its leadership, there's always a sense of change and concern about what kind of impact change happens, that transition that occurs. So in addition to that transition period, they've also asked me to act as their interim CEO. Okay, so I would do that and do it in the spirit in which it was intended. Okay, I have been an educator for quite a while and an educational leader for quite a while as well. And obviously, anybody who's sitting in your seat right now as a stakeholder to the organization, either as a parent, a community member, a staff member, faculty member, or a member of the board, there has to be questions coming about where are we going? What are we going to do? What's the impact? What is this guy going to do? You know, is he going to fire me? Going to let me go? Let this person go? So on and so forth. I assure you that my role as an instructional leader and as an educational leader is to do what's in the best interest of the organization and do what's in the best interest of the kids. We're here to service children. The nice thing about the Philadelphia Academy Charter School is that you're a charter school. You have, through the whole mechanism that the state created and other states created as well, this whole charter school concept, is it gives us a zone of freedom to operate on. And one of our strengths should be that entrepreneurial spirit. Okay, that becomes very important. So recognizing that there is a past to this school, and I have to tell you that back in 98 through 2000, I was actually pulled out of the superintendency. I was a superintendent in a school district in New Jersey, and asked through Drexel University to come on board to work with them because of this whole new concept of charter schools. And I was part of that foundations program through the School of Education that was created, and I did the application for the high school. The high school here that was created at UNUK-8, I was the one who wrote the high school application, so it's interesting how things go around. So anyway, on this slide here, it's very important for me to maintain certain items associated with the school, and it's very important. Integrity, credibility, okay, transparency, a sense of expertise. I believe every teacher here in this school could be Teacher of the Year. I believe every secretary should think of themselves as a potential Secretary of the Year. Bus driver of the year, doesn't make any difference what their job title is. The expectation is we have stellar, outstanding people. But that just doesn't happen, that's talk. Talk is cheap. We have to be able to put the pedal to the metal. We've got to validate ourselves, prove to ourselves that we're capable of doing this. If we do that, people see that. People see that, recognize that, and they have a sense of pride. That's what we want to ensure happens. There are 4 areas that I really want to focus in on. Okay? The first, in terms of my role and my expectation, is the sense of transparency. Transparency in the act of communication. Being able to communicate freely and openly, have a set of educational forums that will take place. I'll present that to parents at some point. I'll do that with the staff, kicking it off on Tuesday with the faculty when they come back for orientation and the start of the school year. Okay, but transparency becomes very, very important. The door's always open. Okay. The second thing is integrity. My integrity is important to me, and it should be important to everybody in this room and everybody who's not here. The board, and I understand there's been changes in the board and there's a transition with that as well. But I really believe from my communications and my discussions with these people to this point is they want to do the right thing. I told them, okay, you have to be transparent in your actions and what you're going to do, but your integrity is important as well. And I don't think we want to question anybody's integrity in this situation, but we want to preserve it. The third is the credibility of our decision makers. It's not always going to be top down, it's going to be bottom up as well. That's important. Recognizing everybody's expertise, their value to the organization, which makes them passionate and vested The more someone is passionate and invested about something, the more they deliver. As a leader, I don't see anything wrong with that. I see something pretty good about that. So we kind of have to create a mechanism for that. But decision making is very important. We don't want to throw anybody under the bus. We don't want to pass blame or anything like that. But as John had mentioned in some of his opening remarks, yeah, we have a challenge facing us. We have a challenge, and it's not through the fault of anybody in this room, but it's also reality. The fourth is, and this is a little bit different, it's an operational thing, is things in writing. Okay? It's in black and white, it's there. Okay. It's in black and white, and it's been approved by the board, it's been approved by the CEO, and this is what we do. We don't say, oh, we're not going to pay attention to that now, or no, well, that's in black and white, but we're not going to follow that. No, we follow that. It's easier in terms of lines of communication. One of the things I mentioned is I want to make sure everybody has an effective and thorough job description. We have about 190 faculty and staff on board here. Everyone gets paid for services. They need to know what they have to do. They deliver the goods, they get a remuneration. So there's a contract that exists. To protect both sides, the organization and the employee, there should be a job description. What is it that I have to do that's outlined in my job description? It becomes then very clear what my responsibilities are, and then I can be measured against that. In the absence of job description, how do we measure anybody against performance? Just something in writing, okay? So, I have to tell you that there are some things I've noticed in the school. Now, you have to appreciate the fact that I have been here before. I've done some workshops and in-service programs for staff. And I've had the opportunity to see the building in action when kids are here, not during the summertime. But I have to tell you, there are a few things that have always stood out for me. One is a sense of pride in bulletin boards. I saw very creative bulletin boards, of course, of my travels. And I am totally impressed with the murals in the elementary school. I don't know who does that, but they turn out pretty good. Totally impressed with the number of trophies you guys have. You must have some athletes in this school and at the elementary school, because there's trophies all over the place. Of course, school has only been around for so long. You know, you can only imagine what it's going to look like in 20 years. Kids are hands-on, active, engaged. I've always sensed that. I also believe that there's a high attendance. I like the attendance rate for faculty and staff as well as the students. They both entities. So I think that's a sign of pride and commitment to the school. In conversations with faculty, I see them as being very passionate, very committed to the school. You have a lot of faculty members that were here from day one. They were here rolling up their shirt sleeves, doing all kinds of things during the evolution of the school. So they have a pride associated with it. How do we preserve that? How do we expand that for everybody? Okay? I do recognize that you've had some difficult times in the past. We can't hide that, we understand that. It's certainly been in the news, but that has to do with credibility and honor and integrity that we want to move forward. Okay? It's a new dawn, we're going to look forward, okay? We want to be outstanding. I do notice, and I'm not going to hide this from you, it's a whole sense of gossip. Gossip and innuendo and rumor. See? When I have these educational forums, and we'll have those, I'll actually set them up in the round. All the chairs will be facing in, okay? And I'll be in the middle talking, have a conversation in the round. During that time, I'll look around, I'll make eye contact with as many people as possible. And I'll say, as far as I know, there's only one CEO in the room. One CEO in the room. If you choose to believe gossip and rumor and innuendo between each other and not want to get it from the horse's mouth, I can't stop that. But that's where we start talking about transparency, integrity, credibility. See? We should be an open door, we should be an open book. Because you're all here for a reason. It's August. This is August, and you guys are sitting here listening to me talk. You know, you could be out there doing such and such, but you're here. So you're showing a sense of commitment to this organization. It works both ways, okay? Loyalty works both ways. The last is, I do have to say this, you know, I know the kids wear uniforms. I get a kick out of all this money coming in because we have dress down days. So we're making all kinds of money because kids don't want to wear a uniform on a certain day, so we got a lot of cash coming in doing that kind of stuff, which is interesting. If we had dress down days 5 days a week, we'd really make a lot of money. So anyway, my sense of direction And what's driving my actions is first and foremost having certain essential questions that I want to ask. Okay? Questions that drive my fact-finding or decision-making. In curriculum and program, finance and facilities, grants, fundraising issues, how is that coordinated? Operations, and yes, governance. Governance. I want the board to be an outstanding board. I want them to be a board second to none. And I want that transparency to show. They'll work at that. Their salaries are really cheap, so we give them a smile and stuff like that, a pat on the back, and they'll come back for more. The second step is this is what we have to do. We have to have a vision for the future. A real vision. Where are we going? What's the big picture? How are we going to get there? Beyond just the internal dynamics. We have factors outside that are impacting on this organization. You know that. I know that as well. Okay? It can have an impact on us. It's always easier for us to make informed decisions, decisions that impact on our children and the organization if we have a sense of vision. If we're just going hit or miss, jig-jagging back and forth, it's not going to help us. So a sense of vision, where are we going, how are we going to get there, is extremely important. Goals for the school, expectations. I already asked our administrative staff, our department directors, to establish goals. Goals that they'll be measured by. Goals that are going to improve their operations, okay, their programs, stuff like that. How do you make your program, wherever it's at, better than it is? Educational approach to learning. Now, this is coming back to our roots. You have a mission. A mission was created based on beliefs, based on a vision back when you guys originally started the whole concept of Philadelphia Academy Charter School. What was that going to be? Lots of times we'll have that mission, and then we'll have goals. And you can ask teachers, you can ask staff members, you have parents, what's the school's mission? You may or may not know that, even if it's posted on a wall. But when we really get down to brass tacks, the educational approach to learning is what makes us tick. The problem is we just have to coordinate that effort. And what do I mean by that? We are practitioners. Our craft is to change children, hopefully for the better, to give them an education from knowledge, skills, attitude that's going to make them extremely successful in the future, their future. How do we do that? The more coordinated we are, K through 12, the more effective we will be. But we as faculty members, as practitioners, if we're going in different directions, all with our own little beliefs, then sometimes kids get mixed messages. And we want to have concerted effort in terms of meeting the needs of kids. Education. That's important. And some of that stuff I'm going to kick off on Tuesday in talking to our faculty. It's the first opportunity I'm going to have with everybody together. Empowerment. I always go in a classroom, and if I see the teacher working harder than the kids, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Why are you as a teacher working harder than your students? I don't want to see that. I want you as a teacher to be a teacher, practitioner, facilitator. You're guiding the students. Let the kids do it. That's why they come to school. But you also have to empower them. You have to give them the freedom, the opportunity to make mistakes, but grow from those mistakes. Likewise, then, administratively, we have to give teachers the opportunity to be creative and think out of the box. If I put too many blinders and handcuff them, they're not going to be able to be that creative, entrepreneurial person that we expect for the whole concept of a charter school. So, with that, I'll give you an example. We'll talk this to the board and some other people. In the budget development, in the past, it was like one person put the budget together, and that's it, this is what the budget is. That's not the way it's going to be in the future. We have department heads that will be responsible for the departments. They're also going to put together their budget. So their program and budget are connected. How the program improves is connected to what budget they had to do, so on and so forth. But they take ownership. The more ownership they have, the more empowerment they have. The more success we'll have with any one department. And the details and mechanics of operation. Internally. How can we be a little bit more efficient, up to speed, state of the state when it comes to operating a multi-million-dollar organization? Because that's what this is. We're a $17 million operation. The people sitting up here at the table, you guys are policymakers for this multi-million-dollar organization. You can't take that lightly. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of decisions have to be made over the course of time. Okay. How can we do that as effective and efficient as possible? So, we talk about, having some discussion about sometimes we may see the lights on at night. There's nobody here, but the lights were left on. We have to commit ourselves to the idea, if I'm leaving the room, I turn off the lights. I want to be concerned where the money comes from. Every one of us has to be concerned, where's the money coming from to pay my salary, or this person's salary, or the lights? If we're committed to that, then good things happen. But if we go out the door thinking, oh, somebody else is going to turn off the lights, good things don't happen. So, there are some administrative items that I want to tackle, keeping in mind that my role here is only temporary. But we're looking at budget planning for 2014-15. How do we organize that fashion to look at the budget and see what we can cut down based on that shortfall? Job descriptions, because I think that's very credible. I think that's very important, something that's easy enough to remedy. Leadership council concept. There will be probably bi-weekly meetings with members of the leadership team that will come together, and if we're talking about empowerment, if we're talking about increased sense of responsibility, we'll have to be prepared how to handle that. So the learning curve and the communication process in terms of that decision-making process, enlightening people and also communicating a message becomes very important. So that whole leadership council concept becomes important. Bringing everybody together. Teacher liaison committee. We're going to create a committee that meets on a regular basis, having representatives from people who are non-supervisors. I say teacher liaison will also include secretarial, clerical support, bus drivers, whatever, and come together so we can have some discussion. What are the issues and concerns from your perspective? We can talk about that, how do we come up with a remedy. Faculty Operations Handbook, add-ons. How do we embellish and how do we add to our operations manual so it's very, very effective? And make sure it's online as well as additional other items online so that we can make our website a very useful tool to our faculty and staff and parents. How do we create incentives for our staff? We're more than just test scores, okay? When was the first high school graduating class? When did the first graduating class graduate?
2007.
2007. Okay, so 2007. So that's about 7 years ago. What are they doing now? Anybody know? Does anybody know what those kids are doing? They're doing it? Okay, well, they're alumni. Okay, they graduated from this school, so we should connect to them. You know, are they successful? Are they, you know, in the 10-year plan trying to graduate from college? You know, or did they go to college and were accepted and graduated in 4 years? Were they kids that entered into a serious relationship, but they're already married and divorced when they went back to their 5-year reunion? They had a 5-year. I don't know. We don't know. But it would be interesting to find out. How do we longitudinally track whether or not our kids after graduation are succeeding, are doing well? Things we want to look at. And how well do we prepare them to succeed in life? We have a responsibility to them for that regard. Then how do we monitor that? So the other thing is really creating a focus for the future, having a plan, looking about things 5 years out, okay? That becomes important. Strategic planning, vision and goals for the next 5 years. So we have a blueprint, at least to the year 2020. Kind of like that 2020 vision, 2020. The communication, how can we improve that process? Okay, how do we expand upon that process? And it's not top down, it's got to be bottom up. That's important as well. Marketing and branding. One of my recommendations is to the board, kind of discussed it a little bit, but we got to hash it out, is how do we expand an independent entity to support our school? Somebody with deep pockets, somebody that's looking at liking what the mission is about the school, okay? Well, we have to have a school second to none. If you have a school second to none, then people want to be associated with it. They want to be associated with the city. So that means we want to have pride in our programs, and not that we don't already have pride, because we do, but we want to be able to brand or market that, show people. Because then people say, you know, I'd be interested in donating maybe $50,000 or $60,000 just because I have it, and I like your mission. That can happen if we make it happen. So, 4 other areas of focus: Board of Trustees, transition. I have to bring them up to speed in terms of a CEO search. What are we going to look at? How are we going to go about it? Okay? The most important job they do is to hire the right person for the job. Their most important job is twofold, actually. Hire the right CEO, the person in charge, can-do person. The person's the glue that binds, and then also evaluate it. You're on target, you're not on target. So this is where we want you to go, so on and so forth. One of the most important jobs they can do. Okay? Establish a vision of, we can do this, we're capable of doing this, it's just a matter of how we're going to do it, you know, pulling our brain power together. The leadership team, okay, encouraging their skill sets, their knowledge base, so they become real inspiring leaders to everybody. And the CEO search, obviously that has to take place. With the board, I want us to review existing board policies. Now this is important, because when we get to the point where we're doing a job search for the CEO is going to be interviewing you guys too. They're going to say, do I want to come on board? They say, you're good people, are going to question that. So we want to make sure that as many things are in place as possible, that's going to prepare them to say, oh yeah, you got this done, you got this done, you got this done. Okay. Not, oh, we got a whole bunch of lists of things that you got to do. Provide the board with working resources. Includes, I want to put together a 3-ring binder, not that they need a lot of paper, but the binder will be a working tool for them, because you want them to be informed decision makers. You guys want to be informed decision makers. The more information they have, the more they increase the odds that their decision making is correct. If they are in the dark about certain decision making, then consequences say, maybe we made the wrong decision. We don't want that to happen. We've got to play the odds. Not that I'm a gambling person, but it happens. Also thinking about some non-voting work sessions. As John had mentioned, we got our work cut out for us. You know, not doing any voting on any action, but talking things out. How do we expand their knowledge set so that they become better decision makers for this policy board? Provide training and even a possible retreat. I do a lot of board training for public schools and charter schools, just bringing people up to think out of the box and see what they could do. One of the secrets of our success is that entrepreneurial spirit, thinking out of the box. That's the beauty of a charter school. Public schools tend to be very traditional. They're going to just do that and toe it down the line. Our whole concept should be thinking out of the box, not to overuse that expression. I also recommend some standing committees. A policy and personnel committee, a program and curriculum, facilities and transportation, and a finance committee. Okay, we had our first finance committee meeting on Tuesday. Mary's going to chair that as the treasurer to the board, and we'll have other meetings coming up for those other committees. It's a formalized process, and then they have expectations of being able to do their due diligence so they can bring recommendations to the whole board. Be a little bit more efficient that way. Creation of a development board, I mentioned to you that. It's the idea that we have a separate entity, okay, a nonprofit entity that can support us. There's no conflict between that board and what we do here. But part of the role will also be assisting in alumni coordination. Build that for the future. And how are we going to recognize our alumni? How do we build that spirit? Leadership team. How do we expand their skill sets? I already mentioned that. We'll belabor that point. But I do want to tell you that one of the things I hope to get out of these guys is taking ownership for their programs. Okay? Some educational things. I'm just going to throw out examples of things I've done in the past, promoting this whole idea of a sense of creativity. And these are educational programs that were done. Carl? These are some things that we've done in the past with students, and we've done it during summertime. So not just your traditional summer school program, but thinking out of the box. So how many people are parents of a handicapped child, disabled child? Okay, worked on a program where we had field trip exploration. Took 10 children with autism, rented an RV, and for a week they went out and explored Pennsylvania. We had tents, camping gear, so on and so forth. Now, if you looked at their log of those 10 students during the course of the year, and behavior incidents, inappropriate behavior, so on and so forth, during the course of that week, there were 0 inappropriate behaviors, because they were all tasked out to do things. Mom and dad was not there, separation from mom and dad, okay? They were responsible for the cooking and the cleaning, so on and so forth, and it just kind of flowed. It was like poetry in motion. It was so cool. It was so cool, and it can happen. It's just a matter of how do we make it happen. Do we want it to happen? What are the roadblocks, and then we overcome it. If it's happening out there, why can't it happen here? But the only way it's going to happen here is if we want it to happen here. You see? If we start looking at this problem or that problem or this excuse or that excuse, it's not going to happen. If we're going to focus in on gossip, if we're going to focus in on rumor, if we're going to focus in on innuendo, it's not going to happen. Simple as that. Difference, guys, see, you're here. You're here. You're stakeholders. You're committed to this. You're bonded to this. So I should think that, yeah, let's make it happen. Just a matter of pulling it together and how we do it. So, just to give you some sense of timeline, I don't know if you can read this, but this is for the CEO search. And you'll be hearing from me in terms of attributes for a CEO. What are we looking for in a CEO? What are some of the challenges we may be facing? What does the application form look like? Okay, so I put out I have a timeline, and some of those things we'll be looking at. We'll have a search committee. Who would like to serve on this search committee to screen some of the applications, to pass recommendations on to the full board? The board has already identified some members of the board for this search committee. So they'll be involved in terms of what kind of questions are we going to prepare for them. Okay, what is the job description going to look? How do we have to revise that and refine that? Okay. And get to the point, we're doing reference checks and eventually hiring somebody. Like realistically, we probably having somebody available around December, probably end of December. Okay? You don't want to rush to judgment. You want to do it the right way. You want to be as effective as possible. Okay? You don't want to leave any stone unturned because it's the most important job they have to do. But they also recognize they want to bring you into the fold, and how's it going to happen? All of this summed up is a theme that I have for the year, and hopefully until 2020. Okay? And the theme is very simple. If you ever heard the concept of a blue ribbon school, okay? Federal government can recognize schools for outstanding programs and services to children, family, and community members. I'm thinking we should be a blue ribbon school. We have blue ribbon students. So blue ribbon school for blue ribbon students. Achieve that status by 2020. Isn't that a perfect 2020? By 2020 vision, 2020 insight, it happens in 2020. Gives us some time to prepare for that, but it gives us a focus. And if we have that kind of focus, we can achieve that, if we want to achieve it. So that's my goal, that's my observations, and what we're going to accomplish in the next few months together. Okay? Do we have any questions? Yes, sir.
If you were able to build your CEO, what type of candidate would you look for? What type of strengths would you bring?
Yeah, understanding right now, yeah, the CEO is the center of the target in a lot of respects, okay? And you have the public school CEO, and then you have a program like this, okay? There's a lot of benefits to a CEO in an organization like this. You get public stakeholders, all different vested interests, and sometimes it's even war politics. Okay? So what's happened in the past is a lot of these CEOs or chief school administrators or school superintendents, they're not staying very long. They're like no sooner getting a job than moving on to the next job. So that's happening to a certain degree. What you want is continuity and consistency. Continuity and consistency in terms of someone wanting to grow and see the fruits of their labor. I'm going to incorporate this, I want to try this, try that, and I want to see it to its end. That's programmatically, okay? In terms of skill sets, it's someone who has a sense of vision. Someone who's cool, calm, and collected, someone who's in control and has a sense of where you have to go. You know, they're not necessarily going to get too riled over things because they have to present to you, not the father figure or the mother figure, not that type of thing, but someone who has a sense of direction, of presence. You see, that's what you want. It's like kids. Kids know fakers. Kids know who the good teachers are and the bad teachers. We all know that, you know. Principals know the good teachers, bad teachers. We know good principals, bad principals. Everybody, we know that, you see. So kids know that too. What you want is someone that has a presence, you see. And it's like you want to follow that person. See? You want that person that's going to be able to lead. You follow them and support them, you see. That's the kind of thing you're looking for. You see, because I really believe, you know, if Paxley's right here, right now, okay, you can get here. No doubt about it. You see. No doubt about it. It's having desire and motivation to get there, not status quo. You know, it's like that book, I forget the name of it, but you know, it's good. What's the enemy of great? Good. It's good enough. I want to be great. Well, you know, what's the enemy of great? Well, we're all right. We're good. We're good. We're good enough. No, we're not. We never should settle. Do a little bit better. Okay. You have another question?
Probably a follow-up on that is, so the skill set, do you think it would need to be more of an academic presence, more of a financial presence? I know ideally it would be good to have a person that can do both, but where, in the environment of where the school is today, what type of skill set is going to help get the school to the next level?
I'll tell you, I was a school superintendent for 16 years. Okay, I always gave the budget presentations as a school superintendent. Okay, because I felt that if I'm sitting in the chair, I should be able to present a budget fairly, if it's fair and equitable. You know, people will buy into it, and that usually happens. Okay, you have people who support you. We have our, you know, school business official. You know, fiscal services takes care of all the day-to-day operations along those lines and stuff like that. You have to rely on them just like you rely on people in transportation, so on and so forth. But they should have a good grasp of how dollars are spent and where dollars are coming from. Okay. I think that in terms of the academics, I have to tell you that I also teach at Rowan University. Okay. I taught at Drexel and Temple as well. But at Rowan, I come out at some of those meetings. Anybody work at Rowan? Okay. Anybody have kids going to Rowan or anything? I come out of some department meetings. I want to rub duct tape around my head. They don't have a clue. They, you know, they're in la-la land. You know, you wonder why you see some 90-year-old professors. You know, it's like they're not dealing with the same kind of stressors that some of your people are right here in terms of as practitioners and in the trenches. You see. So you have to be careful with that. I think it's common sense, good grasp of common sense, logic. Is this the right thing for a kid? You see, are we doing the right thing? The first night I was here, you know, you know, I said some of those statistics. You know, every day in the United States, 8,300 kids are dropping out of school. 8,300 kids drop out of school every day. I think right now, in terms of education, we have a vacuum of leadership in a lot of respects. I wouldn't count on our professional organizations, superintendent associations. They're not showing strong leadership. I don't think higher ed is. I don't think our departments of education are. They're certainly not. Let's say. And in a lot of positions, you know, in terms of your superintendents or your CEOs, it's like they think of it in terms of a foot race to 55. What am I going to do to preserve me? Me, you see. And that's wrong, you see. So it's being able to size up that person. Are you really here for the right reasons? That's what you want. You see. And then interesting, you know, you'll have parents whose kids graduate or leave, but you still want to be involved with school because you get such good vibes about it. Because we like to belong to something. We really like to belong to something. If you're belonging to something good, you want to contribute your time and your energy to something like that. That's a nice feeling. Anybody else? Anything else? You feel good? You got me. Hey, go ahead, knock yourself out. I'm around. Now I'm not here every day. okay, as a CEO, I can't be here because I have other responsibilities, okay? But I'm trying to work out a schedule and then I'll give it to the people who need it and stuff like that. But I'm always available by cell phone or email, okay? So have a great opening of school, you know, and I'm sorry the summer's ending, you know, but we're going to welcome your kids back. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you. Principal report, Mrs. Simmons.
It's difficult to follow. I'll do my best. We had a successful summer school program this summer at the high school. We did have students complete all academic coursework for credit recovery, as well as our students completed the discipline and attendance summer school that they were assigned to, and ESY and CAN went very well this summer. We did have the release of the Keystone scores for the May 2014 testing. These are the students who were enrolled in the Keystone-related courses. So our scores are as follows. For Algebra 1, the proficient and advanced rate was 56.9%, with the state average being 40.1%. For literature, 56.8% proficient and advanced, with the state average being 52.4%. And in biology, the proficient and advanced being 36.4%, the state average being 41.4%. And in reviewing the scores, what this really said to me is that we need to do more work. And our commitment to our kids, first and foremost, and to our parents is to really put forth a higher standard of excellence this academic school year. And one of the things that we're pleased to announce that we're going to be doing is an introduction during our school day of something called a Power Hour. And essentially what this is going to be is a time built into our academic schedule where children will be receiving enrichment, remediation, and intervention in skill building, test taking, preparation skills, study skills, and we really feel that, number one, this is necessary, and number two, that this is going to promote academic excellence in our students. And we're excited about the initiative. If you're a high school parent, you'll be getting a flyer kind of talking to you more about the specifics, and we will keep you updated as the school year progresses. And as I kind of stated already, really we are focusing on a standard of excellence this school year. And we feel that the road to excellence begins with our first step. Just to leave you with a quote, Aristotle says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." And that's kind of what we're looking to do this school year. So thank you so much for coming out and for you to continually support the education of our kids from K to 12. Thank you.
Thank you. For the grade school, Ms. Schmidt?
We're very excited for the new school year. We're finalizing preparations for a smooth opening. The teachers return next Tuesday, August 26th for 3 days of professional development and clerical time. The annual summer back to school newsletter is being sent to all parents tomorrow morning through the new One Call system, so be on the lookout for that. This year's back to school nights are before the next board meeting, so please mark your calendars for Tuesday, September 9th for grades K through 4, and Wednesday, September 10th for grades 5 through 8. Verizon is again granting us $10,000 so we can continue the Science Explorers Club free of charge for about 125 students in grades 3 through 6. And finally, we'd like to say thank you to Sue Tuckerman for alerting us to the grant application for the NatureWorks Garden Grant. Our middle school science teachers, Joe Egan and Darlene Allison, wrote a wonderful proposal, and we hope it's a winner. Thank you.
Thank you for the report. And Sue Tuckerman is here, so I'm going to embarrass you and ask you to stand. So, thank you so much. Mike Thompson, financial report. The only thing I want to mention is that said previously, Mike is going to be very instrumental with our finance committee, our CEO, and our entire administration in helping us navigate through some financial difficulties that have been thrust upon us. Transportation report, no?
Yes, I contacted all the drivers and bus aides, and they're all ready for reorientation on Tuesday the 26th. They'll seem to be exciting, getting ready for the upcoming school year. So.
Thank you very much. Mr. Palin, the facilities report?
Yeah, the building repairs, the painting and cleaning are almost complete. The issue that we were trying to deal with as far as the bushes at the entry to the grade school has been addressed. I spoke to the owner of the property and they'll be maintained. The grade school entry facade repair contract was awarded and work started this week, and those repairs will be covered by insurance. That was the insurance. And the high school roof bid process is complete. We're just waiting for approval from the board.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Those two things, the facade at the grade school and the roof here on this building are in tonight's resolutions. And I wanted to particularly thank you for the bushes because that was an issue that was brought to our attention at the board meeting. So we'll report back to that individual who brought this to our attention. Before I go to high school, the homeschool report and parent advisory, I just wanted to make a quick comment. Much of our staff and all of our students depart in the summertime to return in September, and some of our students come here over the summer. We've had a very unusual summer here in which we've had some crazy things happen to our roof, building happen to our roof, and we're in a transitional phase with the CEO. So I would just like to thank the administration, the high school principal, grade school principal, the financial folks, transportation people, the facilities people, along with Mrs. Adams is sitting over there on the special ed, because people leave here in June. They really don't think about us until they come back in September. But the infrastructure and our family here at the school has been working through the whole summer, and that's going to enable us to open on time. And I'd just like to thank everybody for that. Appreciate it. Home and school report. Is there one I don't know if we have?
I don't have a report. My name is Adrienne Wilksinski. I'm the grade school home and school. We're going to put out an order form for used uniforms, hopefully tomorrow morning. And we're going to run a uniform sale through October and see how that does. In the past, we had done kind of like an open house for the kindergarten, the incoming kindergarten students and 6th grade students. And in the spring last year, we did a $1 uniform sale, and that all went really well. So we're trying to keep it moving throughout the year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Parent Advisory Council?
There's no report.
No
report.
Thank you, Sue. All right. I'm going to go to the resolution. I believe we have 6 on the board. I believe we have a quorum, but just in the interest of transparency, I'm going to try to get Mr. Boyle on the phone just to give us a 4th person to ensure that we do, in fact, have a quorum for the votes we're going to take tonight. Tony's voice did not change. This is Doris Nielsen. I've got him on the phone. So Good evening, Doris, and thank you for taking time away from your family obligation tonight to participate in the resolution part of our agenda. I'll entertain a motion for the resolution to adopt the agenda. Resolution by Sullivan. I'll provide the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Were there any? Thank you, Doris. Were there any comments on the resolutions before we go into the resolution? Resolution to adopt the meeting minutes from July 17, 2014 are attached to your packet herein. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second? Seconded by Mary Deisler. All those in favor signify by saying aye. The ayes have it. Resolution for personnel action. I'll read them in summary. We had several resignations. We had a facilities assistant resigned from the grade school effective August 14, 2014. We had 2 high school special education teachers resigned, both for personnel reasons. And we have a resolution here with 2 new hires, a high school government teacher and a high school physical science teacher. And I don't know if anybody from the administration wanted to speak as to who those folks were, maybe more adequately explain better than I did. I don't know.
Sure.
Mrs. Simmons will update us on the new hires.
The first teacher is going to be a split teacher between U.S. government and British literature. He is a master's graduate from Villanova University. He's also a doctoral candidate from Temple University who's in the dissertation phase of his doctoral fellowship. He is dual certified in citizenship 7 through 12 and English 7 through 12. And the second person is going to be a physical science teacher. Our current physical science teacher is moving up to chemistry. She's certified in chemistry as well as general science. This new hire actually was Mr. Mottershead's student teacher. So she has a great relationship with our school community. She did a wonderful job, and we're happy to have her aboard as a full-time teacher. She has a master's degree from LaSalle University and is also dual certified in general science and biology.
Thank you very much. I'll entertain a resolution.
I actually have a question.
Sure.
Sorry.
Okay.
Your 2 special ed teachers resigned, but you're not hiring a special ed teacher?
We are in the process of hiring a special education teacher. We've been conducting interviews. We actually just had an interview at 6 p.m. and Mrs. Adams and I have chosen the candidate, but they aren't officially on the resolution because we didn't make an offer yet.
We are eliminating one.
But we are eliminating one.
For budgetary reasons, we re-roster. So we're filling just one candidate.
Okay, and I should have covered that. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, Doris, you got it. All those in favor signify by saying aye. The ayes have it. Thank you. Resolution for the grade school front facade, which Mr. Palin described through an act of nature last year. The overhang, for lack of a better term, at the grade school became disengaged from the building, fell down. We have some exposed wires there. It's both perhaps a safety issue, but more so an appearance issue. And we're gratified to report that it'll be covered by insurance. And we have a contractor with Bolts Roofing to do the repair, and that repair will not exceed the cost of $5,000. And entertain a motion. Motion by Bill, Sullivan, seconded by Mary. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Resolution for computer replenishment and repurposing. This is the addition of 110 MacBook Airs, which are necessary upgrades to the hardware, some Apple products. It is basically, we're going to add some laptop parts. It's basically our ongoing desire here to keep current with technology and keep ahead of technology as best as we can with the PAX community. And with that said, this purchase will not exceed $134,000, and the funding will be coming out of our Title I budget money for these technology improvements. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second? Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Resolution for the high school roof replacement, which Mr. Palin referenced in his report. This is something that the board has been looking at for a couple of months now. We've been looking at it since March. We had some people come in and look, and then unfortunately on July 3rd, I think it was, we had an act of nature basically rip off half of the back of the roof here at the building, which changed what we were doing with the roof. But we opened it to public bidding. The bidding directed by the BSI company. The lowest bid that came in, the best bid in the school's opinion, the board's opinion, came in from the Belcher Roofing Corporation at a cost of $488,000. And we will have a 20-year warranty on this roof. And the resolution here is that the cost will not exceed $500,000, including the permits. Just real quick on this, if I can explain. When we sought bids for the roofing, we had bids from $300,000 to $700,000 to $1.6 million. So this is a pretty hefty expenditure for the school. But we're given some of the bids and costs that we've seen in the past. I'm gratified to see that number. I'll entertain a motion for the resolution. I'll second it. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. This is resolution. Next resolution is to add bank signatories for all the bank accounts. This is a housekeeping matter. We'll be adding petty cash, general high school, grade school student activity and payroll accounts. And this motion will add Interim CEO, Mr. Brastro, myself, and Mary Dicer to the accounts. And it'll remove the prior individuals who are on those accounts that are no longer affiliated with the school. I'll entertain a resolution to update the bank signatories with senior to the bank. Motion by Sullivan. I'll second it. All those in favor signify by saying aye. The ayes have it. And this is the last resolution is the aftercare fees for the school. Unfortunately, the school had to look at these fees. The aftercare at the school, at the K-8 building since 1999. We provided that program as a service to our school community. There's been a $40 per family enrollment fee for the program, and the cost of that was $55 per day. I'm sorry, $55 per week, or $11 per day. That fee structure has been in place for probably a decade, maybe longer, maybe since '99. We don't know. But the cost of providing that service has gone up markedly, and due to the increased cost for salaries, benefits, pensions, and utilities, unfortunately, we have to increase this price to keep up with the service. So the proposal was for a $50 enrollment fee and a $75 per week fee, or a $15 per day program fee. We're trying to keep all these costs in line, but this is something we just could not continue any longer. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. And that's the only thing we have to vote other than the adjournment, so if it's okay with everybody here, I was going to release Doris from the phone. Is that okay? Okay. Doris, thank you for taking the time out of your family situation to help us out tonight. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Good night. anything under new business? Yes. Could you just identify yourself for the record?
For the record, Pat Milligan.
Yes.
As we get further and further into the budget crisis, and with the formation of the Finance Committee, one of the things I would ask is that you consider tapping into the parents. I work for UPS, and I spent the last 3 nights at work raising. We are heavily involved with United Way. In the last 3 nights, I raised $23,000 just from the people that directly report to me.
We'll take it.
Pardon me?
We'll take it.
Well, what I'm trying to make is, okay, I have a large network in the Philadelphia area. Just in the Philadelphia area alone, we raised over $2 million for United Way. I don't believe that the school has a United Way status. With your permission, I'd like to start and see what the requirements are for Philadelphia Academy to get a United Way number. And, you know, UPS isn't the only corporation that is strongly affiliated with United Way. And I'd like to try and get a list of those corporations that have the annual campaigns. And then maybe some of our parents work for those corporations. And it's an individual payroll deduction that you fill out. And basically, we funded the music program at Kencrest for years just from the people that I know at UPS. So those are one of the things I'd like to take a look at as we go. We have to do something to bridge the deficit gap. We may not be able to get all of it from parents, but you know, I attended the career day here at high school last year, and it was a lot of people that attended from various professions and corporations. Another thing I'd like to see if we can consider is maybe we have a day where we invite those people back. We have a list of names, and we put on some kind of presentation, as Ernie talked about. Give them a tour of the school, let them know what we do here, and then we sit down and talk to them and say, hey, this is our crisis that we have here. UPS prides itself on being what we call a good corporate citizen. There's a lot of strong corporations up here in Northeast Philadelphia, and I think if we invite them in, we might be able to get some dollars from those folks as well. But we have our children here, their parents are, I know we have some lawyers, we have some pretty people that are in some strong professions that might want to technically adopt this school and give us some dollars that we really don't, that we're not tapping into. I know the Finance Committee is just getting its feet under itself, but maybe we can send out a letter once the school year opens, and we can invite, put it out to anybody that thinks they might be able to get us money. It's our obligation to make sure that we do everything we can out here to help you guys with the problems you're facing. The other thing is maybe we could, down in Fishtown, we do beef and beers all the time for people in need, and the last beef and beer that I was involved in, we raised over $40,000. I don't know if you know anybody that works at the FOP, but I heard they have a ball there. And maybe we can organize an event and, just put it out there. Who knows what money's laying out there that we're unaware of? Okay, so I do have some ideas that I'm not going to take up everybody else's time with that I'll submit to you. Are you okay with me trying to find out what it takes for us to become a United Way recipient?
I am absolutely okay with it. As a matter of fact, I thank you. I thank you for your guts in proposing a beef and beer in front of an alcohol educator that's sitting in front of you. Additionally, I have United Way with my employer, so that's something I would do. Ernie was talking earlier about development. One of the issues we've been talking about with Ernie all along, and we actually spoke in executive session tonight, there might be, the United Way is absolutely fine, it's a great idea, but there may be some legal obstacles to us to doing fundraising as a public entity, not that the United Way is a problem. But talking with Mike and talking with Ernie, our PACDC, which is the, as you know, the governance body that owns the schools, we may be able to do some development and fundraising through that entity to get around. So that's one of the things we're exploring. And we're, as a public entity, we don't like to sit up here and beg for money, but we're being put in that position. And as Ernie said earlier, we need to think outside the box, and that's a great proposal.
I mean, there's these corporations that the UPS had gift matching up to $750.
Right.
So, if I donate money, they'll match it. There's a lot of ways out there. I just think we need to sit down once we get this rolling and look at every possible revenue source we can find. So, John, I'm going to get with my folks and see what it takes for us to become United.
We endeavor to do that, and I appreciate your help and anybody else that could support us.
All right, thanks, John.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else under new business? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to adjourn? Okay.
No, let's keep meeting.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
keep
keep
meeting.
going. Okay, and I'll second the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Concluded at 8:11 now. Thank you very much. August meetings are tough, and we appreciate everybody's attendance. We really do.